Hello, our topic is AR module usage. We log into our AR area by clicking the Back Office AR button under the PMS module. The first area is the Welcoming area, which includes accounts, transactions, and a waiting area. In this area, we can filter our active or inactive agencies based on hotel type or agency type, or by selecting the All option, which displays the open balance, unbalanced, and all amounts in the City Ledger. In these transactions, I will explain how to use City Ledger transactions as AR via an agency card. First of all, we need to make definitions for related operations. One of the related definitions is department definitions. We enter by clicking on the department field from General Definitions. In this field, the modules used by our relevant departments are included in the AR type field. When I apply the Does Not Contain filter in this field, and when I click on Front, I quickly filtered the departments to be used outside the front statement, that is, the front office. When I perform a filter operation in this specific field, the departments that say our back office are the departments that will be used by the ARE department. Sledger is a common department for both front office and ARE department. Right-click on the change of the relevant department and select Update. By clicking AR type from this field, we select that this department is the front office department, the AR back office department, or a department that can be used in both areas as FO and AR, and perform the update process. This was our first definition. Our other definition is providing access to agency definitions under Sales and Marketing. When we enter the agency definition list, we find the agency whose AR number will follow. For example, let's do our experiments with the SunInter agency. I am updating our relevant agency card. In this screen, in the AR No field, I'm going to write the AR number of the agency. Let's write a number called 1001. When I do the update operation, I have finished the two definitions that I need to define, and then let's continue our operations as PMS, Back Office, AR again. Let's start our operations by filtering in this field. After the filtering process, we see the total amount of City Ledger amounts of our agency in the Balance to Transfer field. We will continue our transactions through our SunInter agency. Come to the Code field. By removing all the fields from the relevant filtering, I select only the agenda that we will follow. By pressing OK, we ensure that our agenda named SunInter appears before us. Then, I get to the Holding Area screen. On this screen, we see all our rooms, room numbers, voucher numbers, guest names which were moved to the City Ledger area. The AR technology allows for daily transfer and resetting of this screen, coinciding with the start of relevant transactions. Let's proceed by selecting SunInter from the Code field and using a single agency card. I choose SunInter and click OK. In this area, I see that we have 4 rooms that have been checked out in reservations. The voucher numbers and room numbers are different from each other. The City Ledger dates are all 1205. I see that the total City Ledger amounts of these reservations are 251,000 local currency values. Let's first examine these reservations. In a new tab, on the PMS reservation list screen, as an agency SunInter East, I would like to display all my reservations that have been checked out, categorized by status. It gives me 4 reservations in this area, and the total City Ledger amount of these 4 reservations is 251,000. Let's go back to our holding area screen. In this screen, in order to be able to use the AR number of these reservations, we need to transfer the city ledger amounts to the account. I am making the selections of the related transactions. First, let's move 2 transactions. I can make single or multiple selections. When I select 2 fields, right-click and say Transfer. The system inquires if we are certain. I confirm. The transfer is successful. When enter into the account field, balancing for $225,000. The balance is seen as 2 different areas as $125,000 in the transferred area, because I have now pulled in 2 of my 4 reservations, and I am pulling in the remaining 2 reservations. After doing this, I make sure that there are no reservations for my agency card Sun Inter East in the accounts area that have been checked out and removed from the city ledger but not taken in. Let's continue our transactions by entering into the Transactions field. In this area, we see the reservations that we have pulled in from the holding area that we have taken in. It welcomes us under 2 main headings, All Transaction and Open Balances. Since our related reservations have not yet been converted into an invoice and have not been matched with the payment, they meet us in both the All Transaction area and the Open Balance area. If a mistake has been made on an amount withdrawn on any invoice, if it is a transaction that should not be transferred, we can send this transaction back by marking the relevant field and right-clicking and undo transfer. First of all, let's send it back and look at the right clicks in the holding interface. We have 3 reservations left. In the account section, it returned the amount we sent back to the balanced transfer, coming back to the holding interface. In this area, we said that we can make a transfer in the right clicks and send it already. By saying Change Account, if this reservation, which appears as a city ledger that has been moved to a reservation named Sun Inter East, is desired to be followed as a different agency, by clicking Change Account without affecting the agency card in the previous transactions. Another account can be chosen and the change operation can then take place. However, it is important to note that the city ledger of the relevant agency in the front office and the city ledger in the relevant agency between departments may not match when tracking the transactions made this time. It is crucial to proceed meticulously and step by step in order to properly track these changes. It should be noted that the changes being made here are not related to agency card modifications made in the front office, but rather denote alterations in the corresponding transactions that are pulled into the AR department. If any transactions were carried out in the logs area, their transaction records can be viewed. For those who are curious and wish to preview the reservation or examine the movements in the reservation card, the Reservation Preview option can be selected. As a folio, you have the ability to review and oversee the removal of related transactions and identify the corresponding amounts and departments listed under City Ledger. To access this information, simply right-click once more. Transfer our account area. Send our related transaction. Currently, there are no available data entry tasks. Whenever I access the account section, the balance transfer area is reset once more. Therefore, I am proceeding to the Transactions section. All of our outstanding balance transactions can be found on this screen. Now let's generate an invoice for one of the fields. From these screens, we have the flexibility to create one or multiple invoices. Let's start with one invoice. I select the relevant transaction. By right-clicking, I click on the R invoice field. In this field, it allows us to input any invoice number and change it accordingly. We have the freedom to choose a sequence number here. Additionally, we record the date of the invoice. The debtor number and amount from the reservation are also provided, along with our local currency, multiplier, and the corresponding foreign currency. If there is a due date, we can input it in the relevant field by taking the invoice date and adding 2 or 15 days. If we need to provide any explanation, we can enter it in the comment field. The fields containing information about the selected reservation include the start and end dates, registration details, room type, and number of guests. These fields may vary. It's important to note that any changes made here do not impact the actual reservation. As the AR department, we have assumed responsibility for the reservation and have started using it. In the meantime, I see that the total amount of the transaction that needs to be invoiced is $62,839. I want to copy this field and write the amount on the invoice. More than one recognition can be added to the relevant field. We can add more than one. For example, our accommodation can accommodate a couple or a parent with a child. Upon completion of your stay, we will issue you an invoice containing the total amount that needs to be paid. If we have explanations, these explanations will appear on our invoice. Therefore, these definition fields can be used against amounts. When we write this operation in the amount field, our total balance is $62,839. But when I advance with the top key, I see that our balance is reset. Because I have divided my invoice, which is related to the payment, to match the amount that was deducted from the city ledger. Then, to complete the invoice, I click Save. If we wish, we can print our related invoice. Let's continue by clicking Yes. Our defined invoice appears in this field. I click Report. On the screen that opens, I see a total of 62,839 local currency values. I see that the description I have written comes to this screen in the form of 2 adults and 1 child, and I can quickly see and print a preview of my invoice. This field is now an invoiced field. In our other fields, I will process the invoice in the same way. Plus explanation I wrote that I saved as a test. In the area I chose, I individually perform invoicing operations instead of batching them, ensuring precision and attention to every detail. Now, we have 2 fields for our invoices. We have converted 2 reservations into invoices in 2 fields. These invoiced amounts need to be paid and closed so that we no longer see them on the open balance screen. For these operations, let's enter payment by right-clicking. When we choose Payment, from the department cards I described in Chapter 1, my departments that will be used for AR are listed in my payment departments. Let's choose Bank Transfer. In this field, Egyptian in currency. In total, 150,000. I received a payment. When I click Save, a new payment was added in addition to invoice and city ledger types. After invoicing, once the payment for these invoices is received, I will match and remove these reservations from the open balance area by mapping them to each other. I will carefully select the relevant invoices to complete this process effectively. By selecting my payment, Invoice Match by right-clicking. When I perform this action, it calculates the total sum of our 2 invoices and specifies that this amount will be deducted from the payment. Let's proceed by selecting Save to confirm our decision. By completing this action, we are able to observe the remaining payment amount and notice that our 2 invoices are no longer displayed on the open balance screen. This is due to the fact that both invoices have been successfully paid and matched with each other. If desired, we can collectively view this information in the Old Transaction field, where we will see the amount, payment, and open balance. Since our open balance was 0, this was deducted from the reservations on the open balance screen. If you make a mapping without invoicing, if we intend to perform an invoice match, the system will prohibit it. The system will request that the amounts removed from the city ledger are invoiced before anything else. Our city ledger amount, for example, in this booking, is $62,000 in room 0, 409. We can do this by right-clicking, Adjust. The amount we enter here will be added or subtracted from the existing amount. Meanwhile, if the amount of city ledger left for our reservation, if it is wrong, by making change, I can update it. Changes made within this section do not have an impact on the front office section. Invoice Print area provides the ability to print the existing invoices again. We have reservation and folio preview areas that we have seen in the holding area. New posting area is also available on this screen. Let's say new posting and continue. When we right-click on the reservation we have selected on this screen, only AR departments are listed. Select the department we want and choose the income group. Let's continue by selecting the relevant currency in this field. 100 Egyptian pounds. Let's provide data input. Our rate is 1. Let there be one posting operation called trial. The posting operation done here is reflected at the bottom as extra posting, and the room number is 409. If we right-click on the room number, not the folio number, and preview it as folio, we will not be able to see this movement that we have entered as extra posting in the front office folio records, because the department we have used is only the AR department. The extra posting transactions made within the AR department only concern AR and do not disrupt the transactions in the front office. This operation here allows us to continue the operations by entering increment, decrement, payment, and extra posting without the need to go to the front office operations and make a correction. If our current transaction is entered incorrectly, we can delete it by right-clicking on the relevant transaction. Again, if any changes have been made via the right-click, you can see the preview. We can see the logs of these fields by clicking on the logs. Let's invoice the remaining 2 city ledgers. Right-click, our invoice. I don't want to print our next city ledger. We've made our choice, we've saved it. Let's update our payment. Again, right-click and edit our payment. And even enter another payment. Right-click, payment. This time a cash payment. That's 150,000 Egyptian pounds. Let's provide an entry in the form. Our other 2 invoices with bank payment, let's close these invoices with cash. When I right-click and say Invoice Match, it says that it will pull the relevant amount from the payment. At this time, we see that we no longer have any amounts on the open balance, except for payments, except for overpayments, except for any city ledger that has been removed, invoiced, and awaiting payment. In the All Transaction field, there is no balance in the open balance. In the Account field, we see that all our reservations are waiting for us in the balance transfer section, as we have pulled in all our reservations from the holding area. This is the use of our AR module. I wish you good work.